Hey, my name is April, and I'm the peaceful wife. And somebody asked me this week if I shouldn't call myself a peaceful wife because I don't want to be the only peaceful wife. And I call myself the peaceful wife because that's the name of my book and everything. But I invite all wives and all people to be peaceful in Christ. So please don't think that I'm the only one that gets to be peaceful. You can be peaceful too. So today I want to talk about the question, am I too chatty with my husband? This is another one of those topics where balance is key. We can be too talkative or too quiet, and both of those can be a problem. So I was more on the side of I talked all the time, incessantly, and there was a verse that I always hated for so many years, Proverbs 10:19, that says, "Where there are many words, sin is unavoidable, but the one who controls his lips is prudent." The problem is, the more we talk, the less filter we tend to use, and the easier it is for sinful things to come out of our mouths. So I actually went through a quiet phase at first when I started this journey about 9 years ago, where I didn't really know what was sinful and what was not, and most of the stuff I was saying was sinful. So I just kind of quit talking for a while until I could figure out how to say things without sinning. So that was a little bit frustrating at first, but I'm really thankful that God works with us through those things and helps us to learn and grow. So a couple of things that I can do is evaluate, why do I want to talk so much to my husband or to other people? There are some good reasons to want to talk, and there's some not so great reasons to want to talk. Some not so productive reasons would be things like if I want to share something sinful, like gossip, insults. If I want to speak from a critical, judgmental spirit and I'm speaking death to people. Pride. I'm trying to prove I'm so wise and I'm so right and everybody needs to agree with me. Condemnation, blame, guilt, and shame. If I'm speaking those things to other people, those would be sinful things. Contention, arguing, being addicted to conflict, just constantly wanting to butt heads. Greed, selfishness, self-loathing, and hatred. Idolatry of myself, my husband, my children, other people or things. Disrespectful things. If I want to say disrespectful things, that would be sinful. If I'm trying to control my husband or somebody else, if I'm trying to usurp my husband's God-given position as the leader of the home, if I'm undermining him, trying to force him to do things my way, if I want to just spew worry and fear, really I need to take that stuff to the Lord first. It's not that I can't talk to my husband about things that make me worried or afraid. I do need to share concerns, but if I haven't harnessed that and haven't taken my thoughts captive, it would be great to speak to the Lord first. Another reason that is not productive that I may want to talk would be I feel awkward if we're not talking. Sometimes we think that silence means tension, but it really doesn't. To a lot of men, silence is not tension. It's kind of peaceful and beautiful. And to introverts, silence is great. And so I don't have to fill up every moment. It doesn't have to be awkward. We can be silent and enjoy being together. Some more unproductive reasons to want to talk. I have unrealistic or unbiblical expectations about him having the same need to talk that I do. He probably doesn't. I may expect him to think, talk, and act like a romantic lead in a romantic movie or book, and he doesn't have a woman to write his script the way those actors do. So that's probably not realistic. I may expect him to pray out loud with me, even if he's not comfortable with that. Praying out loud is a personal decision that people need to be able to make for themselves, and not everyone feels comfortable being that vulnerable, and if he wants to pray privately, that's okay. Some more reasons that might not be so good about why I want to talk. If I'm trying to filibuster and explain my perspective, and I think if I just explain enough, he will agree with me and I can change his mind and he'll do what I want. Usually more explanation, I need to explain things to some degree, but lots of explanation is usually not necessary. Or I may expect him to do all of my thinking for me so that I don't have to think. So I may want to talk with him and then get him to tell me what to think, and instead of me having my own thoughts. That would not be a good reason. Or I may want to share every single thought in my head without any filter, which is what I did for a long time. That's not a good reason to talk. I might be enmeshed with him, and that's enmeshed, E-N-M-E-S-H-E-D, or codependent, or idolizing him. And I might have my emotional and spiritual well-being tied to him, and so I'm trying to find my well-being by talking to him, and I base my feelings on him and his responses to me. That's not a good reason to want to talk. I might look to his words and affirmation to give me security instead of looking to the Lord. Or I might want to try to impress him or be perfect, show him I'm perfect, so maybe I think he'll love me more. I might want to get his approval more than the Lord's approval, so I may want to tell him all these things I'm thinking and doing to try to get him to say it's okay. If these kinds of things are the reason I want to talk to my husband, I probably want to go to the Lord first and deal with anything that's sin, anything that God calls sin. Deal with wrong motives first. Then I can think about talking with my husband after I've dealt with all of that stuff, and I'm filled with the Spirit instead of being controlled by the flesh. Some great reasons to want to talk with my husband would be things like, I want to bond and connect with words for a while, but I can also realize he may not bond that way, and so I may understand that he has limits to how much listening and talking that he might want to do. There might be important information that I need or want to share with him. I might be looking to him for his wisdom and advice for an issue I'm having. That's great. I may want to brainstorm with him about some plans or hear about things that are important to him. That would be a good reason to want to talk. I may want to learn more about his personality, his perspective, his mindset, the way he looks at the world. That would be a great thing if I'm approaching him in a friendly, curious way. I may have some legitimate concerns to share respectfully with him. That's totally fine. I may want to humbly, respectfully, prayerfully confront him about sin in his life. And I have a video about that. We need to deal with any sin in our own life first and be sure that our hearts are right with the Lord and with our husbands, and that we are approaching this from a godly, productive, healthy way. I may want to respectfully ask him for something. That's a great reason to talk with him. I may want to talk with him to process my feelings and thoughts about something. I may feel lonely and want to feel closer to him. At the same time, realizing that my primary security and contentment is in Christ. I may want to build him up, bless him, affirm him, respect him, and honor him. And if he is open to that verbally, then that can be great. Some husbands don't like to hear a lot of verbal respect. Some husbands do appreciate some of that. It depends on the man. Another great reason, I may want to connect with him spiritually. If he is in a place where he's receptive to that, that can be great. And I may just want to enjoy his company and be his friend. That's a great reason to want to be with him and talk with him. But a couple of things to keep in mind. When I want to talk to someone, I need to remember my audience. I may want to avoid topics that he really doesn't like and doesn't enjoy, if possible. And I want to respect his preferences. If he doesn't want to talk about the news, for instance, if he feels like a lot of it is fake or it's too upsetting, then I can respect that he doesn't want to hear about that, and I cannot bring that up. And I can focus more on things I know he enjoys. I can speak about things that are important to me too, but I may want to put a time frame on it, 10 minutes instead of 3 hours, Something else to keep in mind, everyone has different preferences about how much they like to talk and how much they like to listen. So if your husband is introverted like mine is, you may want to keep conversations brief. Too much talking can feel overwhelming. And introverts tend to enjoy some silence. If he's an extrovert or he's very verbal, he may enjoy longer talks, especially about things that he likes to talk about. There are times when it may be better not to have a deep, emotional, intense conversation. When the flesh is weak, like one or both of you are sick, or you're very hungry, or you're in a lot of pain. If you are hormonal, or it's late at night, or one or both of you is very exhausted or stressed, those are probably not going to be great times to have big, important discussions about your future, the marriage, and the relationship. Some other times that are not the best for deep discussions would be if he's watching his favorite football game or his favorite TV program, if he's working on a plumbing problem or something and he needs to focus. If he doesn't seem receptive, it may not be a good time. Or if you are in flesh mode, it's not going to be a good time to have a big, deep discussion. Men tend to associate, we need to talk, with there's a problem. Or with the wife saying, you are the problem, to the husband. Not with, we are connecting and bonding. At work, men talk because there's a problem that needs to be solved. At home, a lot of times when we want to talk, it's because we're upset. So if you want talking to be about bonding and connecting, make talking fun and pleasant. Also, if you just want him to listen, and you just want to process your thoughts and feelings verbally, most men don't have that need. So you may need to just gently coach him on, I process through speaking and talking about things. That helps me to understand what I'm thinking and my feelings better. So if you had about 10 minutes for me to just talk, and then you could just listen, and I don't really need you to fix anything right now, that would be great. I would feel better. I just need somebody to talk to that I trust. That usually will work better. Also, a lot of men don't really enjoy hearing all the details of every single thing that happens in our day, or everything about our shopping trip, or everything about our friends and family. There's sometimes a lot of minutia that can feel like overload. And men and women tend to talk differently. Women tend to talk face to face. And men tend to do better talking shoulder to shoulder while they're doing something else. Sometimes for men, talking face to face can feel really intense, and it can even feel emotionally a bit intimidating sometimes. And I'm going to share a link to this post from my blog that has a whole bunch of other links on it, including some verses about talking too much and some verses about the wisdom of silence. And then in the next coming weeks, I hope to share a few more things about this topic, what to do when you really do want to talk more and he doesn't want to talk that much, and some other outlets that you might be able to find that would be healthy. And how to tell if you're too quiet with your husband, because that can be an issue too. Thanks so much for watching. You're welcome to comment if you have wisdom to share, things that God has shown you that you'd like to share that would be an encouragement. That'd be great. Or if you want to share your struggles in this area, definitely you're welcome to do that too. And if you want to, you can find me at my blogs, peacefulwife.com and peacefulsinglegirl.com. I'm also on Facebook, Peaceful Single Girl, and the Peaceful Wife blog. Thanks for watching. Have an amazing day, and I'm looking forward to having a discussion about this topic.